I think there are three levels at
Yeah.
which we create democracy.
Yes.
One
How?
is the level at which we elect a president. It's the most superficial level.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that through globalization, central authority has appropriated a lot of power. And that's why we've always said from the beginning, food is too precious to be part of WTO. It should be brought out of WTO.
Mm-hmm.
Seed is too precious to be left to intellectual property monopoly of Monsanto. It should be reclaimed as a commons. So we have to undo the harm of globalization and free trade. And you had a foreign minister, an ambassador to GATT, Recupero. I remember when we were fighting against GATT, I was working with our ambassador, and Recupero had said, the choice you're giving, he was telling the rich countries, the choice you're giving us is as the chicken who's going to be eaten, and you're asking us, what sauce would you like to be eaten with? And it is such a clear example of what free trade is. Free trade is freedom for the corporations, freedom for the rich countries, freedom for the billionaires, no freedom for the others except what sauce will you be eaten with. And I think all this concentration of power that's happened
Yeah.
with globalization, the emergence of billionaires, 10 billionaires controlling half the wealth of the world, that definitely needs a reversal, because that meant changes in our rules. That meant changes in our governance. It meant deregulation. That's how GMO soya entered Brazil and entered Argentina. The second thing is, most of our countries have had federal structures. Regions had power, which centralization took away from them. We need to reclaim that. That's a big struggle in India, where our states are saying we are a federation. You know, and as federation, we too, and food and health are governed regionally, never centrally. You know, defense and finance are usually authorities of a central government. But everything related to life is different, because, you know, the Amazon is different from the south. The desert of
course.
India is different from the rainforest of Kerala. But the third thing, which is the most important thing, which we've forgotten, at the end of it, you cannot reclaim the commons without creating community. Commons are governed by community, because commons means caring and using equitably. Yeah? And, you know, like, look at the magnolia. She's created a commons of shade. Here we are sitting on a hot afternoon, and here is the commons. But
True.
it's because this tree has been protected. Tree has been loved, and tree has been respected. So community and local freedoms is what, for example, MST has worked on, you know, local food production, seed saving, organizing a new politics. So, yes, there is a centralized politics that is thoroughly corrupted by big money. They only put in place people who will create rules and laws for their profits.
Yes, exactly.
And that's why they get rid. They manufacture displacement of leaders who work for their people. Because most leaders, particularly in the last 10 years, have been put in place by big money.
Yes.
You know, very often they are names that weren't even known in the country. You know, out of the blue, they came up as leaders.
Exactly.
But we need to remember we are decentralized and we are self-ruled. And our power for self-governance is what Gandhi called Swaraj. Swa is self. Raj is to govern over yourself. That is the commons. That is the democracy of the common. And finally, I would say, when we sit with this tree, the tree is part of our family. And that's why I talk of earth democracy. So we need to stop thinking that big money putting puppets in place is the way politics works. We have to turn to the tree, we have to turn to the microorganisms and say, give us guidance on how to create democracy and justice and freedom.
That's so empowering. Thank you. That's why you're a lighthouse, you know. You're a living lighthouse, because you bring hope. You know, listening to you, it's very important. Sometimes when we are in dark times, we can breathe and we're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do anymore. And to listen to you, it's something really refreshing. So,
but Bella, it's only because every time I see horrendous actions by a small elite in the world,
yeah,
I turn to nature. I turn to the seed, I turn to the trees, I turn to the grass and ask, how do you work? You know, show me the way. And for me, one of my most favorite images is, you know, they build concrete and put concrete everywhere, and suddenly out of the blue in the concrete a flower will come out. We have to be like flowers bursting through the concrete.